Hola y bienvenidos. My name is Mary Chavez. I'm the business manager of the Taos News. Welcome to the special event honoring our 2021 Taoseña Award winners. As a woman, a career woman, and a mother, I'm honored to celebrate the stories of sacrifice, compassion, and hard work of our 8 women of impact. Before we get started, I want to acknowledge some of our staff for the excellent work putting together our Taos Women magazine. Photographer Morgan Timms for all the great photos inside. Creative Director Karen Eberhardt for the beautiful design. Chris Wood in the ad department for the fantastic job securing business support. Our magazine editor, Virginia Clark, and all of the Taos News employees for their hard work on the magazine this year. The key drivers behind this, our 9th annual edition of Taos Women and this annual Women of Impact Awards. I also want to thank this year's Taos Women sponsors, Taos County Chamber of Commerce, UNM Taos, and Taos Community Foundation. Now, to kick off our 2021 Taoseña Awards, let me introduce Lisa O'Brien, Director of Taos Community Foundation. That organization in Taos, recognized for its platform for giving, which, despite the pandemic and all the resulting challenges, managed to meet emergencies such as food pantry shortages, shelter overflow, and behavioral health services, amongst many others. Please welcome Lisa with a round of applause.
Thank you. I want to take just 1 minute because I know people are going to be watching this from home tonight, and I think it's important to just give a little description of what I get to look at. We are at Sabroso's restaurant. We just had an amazing, beautiful lunch. Everyone who is here is one of the amazing women, and they each got to bring a guest. And everyone did have a mask on when they came in, and when we seated at our seats, we took our masks off, and then when we put them back on, we move around the room. So just to let everyone know, we're here today, I don't even know what time it is. It's like 1:15, but it feels like it's evening, to celebrate 8 amazing women. Taos Community Foundation has been a sponsor of this event the last several years, and it's an absolute honor because our work in community does 2 things. One, we push leadership activities, and we do charitable giving. And that root in our community is what I see here tonight with the amazing 8 women who have been selected by their peers. I have the great privilege of working with 4 amazing women in my team. So I want to just say Taos Community Foundation is here in spirit with Jenny and Lisa and Tracy and Helen also. Usually at this event, we give a $30,000 award out to one organization that serves women and girls in community. And because of COVID, right, everything's been kind of topsy-turvy. Yeah, so our grant making got a little off this year. With that in mind, I just want to say that our Women Give program and initiative has pushed out about $200,000 into community just in the last 3 or 4 years. Our Women Give initiative is a group of women who come together and collectively decide where they want that grant making to go, and it's incredible. Friendships have come out of that circle, continue in that circle, and grant making happens. That's one initiative of Taos Community Foundation. When I think about leadership, and when I look at the women in this room, and we think about what this year has been with COVID, I can remember when I started in my leadership role at Taos Community Foundation, and there were 2 words that I said, Lisa, don't ever speak these. Busy and overwhelmed. I'm not using those words, and I try really hard not to use them. The new word for us this year to not use is normal. Because I think we all are going to agree, there's no new normal. We don't go back to normal. We're in this new moment. And when I look at the women that are highlighted today, what I see, what you brought to your families, to your churches and faith communities, and to your families is grit, tenacity, and absolute get the job done. I want to thank Taos News for letting Taos Community Foundation be one of those sponsors. Virginia, I have to say, the magazine this year is absolutely gorgeous. I read it cover to cover, including the ads. And one of the things I saw in one of the articles was talking about women from this sort of get it done moment. And one of the quotes was like, pick up your socks. And I thought, oh my God, I love this. I'm putting this on the refrigerator, because what woman in this room has not had that moment with their kids or their nieces or nephews or maybe their spouse or their partner about pick up your socks? And what I say with that is it's like, pick up your socks, get the work done, and that has absolutely happened with every single one of the honorees today. In the spirit of grant making, we would typically at this event give our $30,000 award out to one organization, and we're not prepared to do that. But in the spirit of grant making, each one of our awardees today has the opportunity to select one charity of your choice, and a $1,000 grant will be made next week in your name. I want to say thank you for all of the work you have brought to this community, and thank you for being here today. It's an absolute honor. You know, whenever you do these events, you go, okay, don't forget that. And then, of course, I go to the side, and what do? I forget to announce my next best person coming up to the podium. One of the things I've learned and have taken away this year is an incredible amount of gratitude. And I want to introduce Anita Bringus, who will be the presenter for the awards this afternoon. And I'm not going to introduce Anita as an amazing person at UNM Taos. I'm going to introduce Anita as one of my best friends in community. So I'm just so honored to sit next to you, my dear.
I told myself I was not going to cry today, at least not this early on. Before I get started, I just want to thank you, Lisa. I always do get a little emotional and choked up anytime I'm in the presence of Lisa, and especially when I hear her speak, because you show up. No matter what you do and where you are, you show up. You show up for your family, you show up for this community, and it's just such an honor and a privilege. I've known you now for over a decade in various roles that we've had and through as we've grown in our respective professional careers. But what is really so meaningful and special to me is how we have grown in our friendship. So thank you for your ongoing support. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you. Hello, welcome. Good afternoon, good evening for those of you watching tonight. Welcome y bienvenidos to the 2021 Taos News Taoseña Awards Ceremony and recognition and honoring of our women of impact. These remarkable women come from all walks of life. You may know them as your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues, and your family members. We know them this year as the women of impact. I want to thank the Taos News for the opportunity to honor and celebrate just a few of the countless notable women in our community through these annual Taoseña Awards. Thanks to our co-sponsors, the Taos Community Foundation and the Taos County Chamber of Commerce. We're grateful to come together this year, somewhat in person, though a bit modified, to honor and celebrate these women. And we're so grateful and we appreciate the warm hospitality, the service, and the great care shown by the Sabroso staff that allowed us to be able to gather in a safe way today. So thank you and for all of your hard work. As a strategic support manager for UNM Taos, I am proud not only to be a co-sponsor and host of this event, but I'm also very privileged to be the MC and to have the honor to introduce our recognees this year. We start our recognitions today with someone who hardly needs an introduction, as she and her work are well recognized in the community and across the state. As an educator, advocate, and now owner-director of the Multisensory Language Training Institute of New Mexico, also known as MLTINM, Mary Gilroy's journey in education began nearly 5 decades ago. She has been nationally certified as a dyslexia therapist since 1992, And it's with the support of 2 municipal school special education coordinators that Mary got her start, Charlene Gonzalez and the late Janelle Livingston. With their support, Mary piloted Sounds in Syllabuses at Taos Junior High School back in 1990 and continued to expand the MLTI-NM training into the early 2000s. Mary Gilroy is a hero to many, families, educators, community members, and her hundreds of students. But for her, it's those very students that she considers her heroes. The early students who never gave up despite daily failures and pushed her to search more deeply for answers. And all of her dyslexia therapy students these past 30 years who have been willing to work exceptionally hard and have had the courage to advocate for themselves through school, college, and careers. Mary's advice to her teenage self is good advice for all of us. Exercise more, play outside, take more science classes, and eat fewer sugary products. Too late. That meringue is done and done. She is grateful to her wonderful husband, Jim Gilroy, who loves to cook, and to her extended family of children and siblings, as well as her strong network of peers who help her to maintain her work-life balance. Many years ago, I had the opportunity to work peripherally with Mary Gilroy nearly a decade ago at the Literacy Center at UNM Taos, now the Taos Education and Career Center, where she tutored students in the program. Little did I know then that I was in the presence of such a passionate advocate, a dedicated educator, and such a strong leader in the community and across the state. It is my honor, and I ask you to please join me in welcoming and congratulating our first Taoseña Award recipient, Mary Gilroy.
Thank you, Juanita. All right, I told my granddaughter I could talk for 200 hours, and I've been told 2 minutes, so let me get started. First, thanks to all that have sponsored this wonderful event and allowing me to honor the women in my history. First, my mother. She was a first-generation American who had a passion for learning. And then Sister Clarice, my high school English teacher, who had a passion for teaching. Dr. Corinne Cass was my professor at the University of Arizona, who taught me about the reading process, about dyslexia, and multisensory education. And this was close to 40 or 50 years ago. She put me on the right path and set the gold standard for special education professors. Senora Cañas was the mother of the first student I ever helped when teaching at Pueblo High School in Tucson. Her son had entered the 9th grade reading at the kindergarten level because he'd been taught reading was a guessing game. Mrs. Cañas represents all the mothers who are tireless advocates for their children. Sandra Dillon, the local New Mexican who taught me and my fellow Taoseña, the late Kathleen Tomlinson, that if you can teach the most severe dyslexic to read and spell, you can teach anyone. Sandra founded not only the first dyslexia training institute in the state, but was the founder of the Southwest branch of the International Dyslexia Association, which has benefited many Taos teachers for over 30 years through its annual conferences. Sandra also told me when I first started that the best way to get going in this field is to have a strong administrator. I had 2 in the Taos Municipal Schools. Charlene Gonzalez, who hired me in 1987 and then guided me in piloting the first dyslexia therapy group at Taos Junior High School. And the late Janelle Livingston, who understood the science of reading and was a strong advocate of professional development for all teachers. In closing, I want to honor 2 groups. My fellow dyslexia therapists here in Taos, you have no idea how much you mean to me. and the many classroom teachers in Taos now, who in addition to teaching all day in a very challenging COVID period, are involved in professional development trainings on the science of teaching reading. Please trust me when I say that you are on the right path to helping not only students with dyslexia, but all students become better readers and spellers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary. What's truly remarkable about Mary Gilroy and all of our honorees today is just how the impact, how that works. And it's not just the immediate circle, and in Mary's case, the hundreds of students that she has directly supported, but then their families and their communities and their places of work. So it's really, truly phenomenal that when you think about it, your impact in the community across the state, across the globe have really been exponential. So thank you and congratulations. Our next honoree is also very exciting for me to introduce and be with today. She is said to be the glue that holds the community of childhood organizations together. She works quietly and tirelessly in the background to provide families and children in Taos with quality education and resources with an amazing and a playful approach. She has been passionately involved in early childhood education for nearly 30 years. And it's with energy and enthusiasm that she has created new standards for early childhood education. Tracy Jaramillo started her journey in early childhood education at Taos Valley High School as a preschool assistant and after-school teacher. She credits her mother, Jo Carey, who's with us here today, for introducing her to the joy and the rewards that come with working with young children. Tracy went on to open Anansi's Day School with co-founders Michelle Hunt and Ellery Sims in 1993. And nearly 20 years ago, Tracy co-founded the Paso a Paso Early Child Care Network, which brings together community agencies on behalf of young children and families to collaboratively identify gaps in services, develop a means to address the needs of our community, and effect systems change. Now for over a decade, Tracy has served at the UNM Taos campus, and community as the director of our Kids Campus and faculty member of the Early Childhood Education Department. In all of her years as an educator, she considers her own greatest teachers her children, Ryan, Taylor, and Grady. As an essential worker in a critical field, Tracy seeks time in nature to ground her, to good friends to keep it real, to travel, to nurture her adventurous spirit. Her family, and especially her grandchildren, remind her the importance of staying in the moment. It is my great honor and pleasure to welcome colleague and friend, Tracy Jaramillo.
Thank you all. A special thanks to the Taos News, the Community Foundation, the Chamber, and UNM Taos for sponsoring this event. I'm honored to be recognized along with so many amazing women in this room who have contributed so much to our community. Congratulations to each one of you, and thank you. I feel so lucky to live in a community where people care so deeply for one another and work collaboratively to benefit the greater community. There's no greater example of this than the early childhood community, who have been working together across organizations for nearly 20 years. To all who have been involved with the Paso a Paso Network over the years, it's been a privilege to work alongside you and learn from you. It's an exciting time for early childhood in New Mexico, under the amazing leadership of the new Department of Early Education and Care. The New Mexico legislature just passed a bill for a portion of the permanent land grant fund to be allocated to support early childhood education. This is a first. It will go to the citizens for a vote November 2022. So I hope our entire community will come out to support this important opportunity for our children and our families. Most importantly, I'd like to thank the many children and families who brought so much joy to my days for so many years. And to my own family, you are my life. And I have to give a shout out to my grandsons, Ryder and Miles. I love you and miss you. Thank you.
Okay, so everyone who's getting an award has hang around for a minute so we can do the group and grant. Yes, there we go.
Okay. As it often happens in Taos, we see and recognize people, know them without really knowing them or having met them, right? Such was the case with our next honoree. If you've walked the plaza, you probably have seen her outside of her shop, sharing a smile and a wave with folks as they pass by. The first time I was actually introduced to Maya Torres, I was met with a warmth and a familiarity as if we were primas. That still sticks with me today. A multi-generational Taoseña and owner of Gallery Studio 107B, a space that originally housed a bar and restaurant owned by her grandparents, Maya is dedicated to creating a space for diverse and inclusive representation of Taos artists. Not only that, but it was noticed that she also likes to give food away to customers as they come by. Says of the person that nominated Maya for this award, it's a really cool environment to have here in Taos. Not just a gallery owner, but a renowned artist herself, Maya holds a BFA in Fine Arts from UNM with a minor in Science. She has worked in a permanent collections throughout the world, including Ethiopia, Germany, and Brazil. And she's been the recipient of 3 different 1% for the Arts programs through the New Mexico Arts. Being a mom and going to Ethiopia through the Art and Embassies program, she considers her greatest accomplishments. About a career in the arts, Maya says, it's a really difficult field to navigate, especially as a woman of color. So if you really want an interesting, adventurous, uncertain, and difficult life, you're choosing the right path. But if you want a simple, comfortable life, choose something different. We're so glad that you chose the path that you did, Maya. Her success she credits to part circumstance, part perseverance, but ultimately that she has learned and grown from everyone and every circumstance in her life. More importantly are her sons, who she considers her heroes. They have been instrumental to Maya with their support, their belief in the creative process, and because, and I quote, they have put up with her for so long. She offers this advice, which I'm sure we could all relate to at some point in this past year. There is no such thing as a sane work-life balance. Just prepare for the insanity. I don't know anyone who's managed to balance the two. From where we sit, Maya, it appears that you have managed to balance it just fine. Please join me in welcoming and congratulating Maya Torres.
Are you ready? I'm really honored to be here this afternoon, this evening. I wanted my friend Annette Duran to come up with me because truly this venture wasn't alone. And without Annette with me during this time, raising our kids together, supporting one another during times when families aren't entirely whole, it wouldn't have happened. So thank you, Annette. And thank you, Taos News and Taos Community Foundation, UNM, and all the supporters that I'm probably forgetting, the sound people and Sabroso this evening. And I have to give great thanks to my ancestors from this valley. As a 13th generation Taoseña who has Spanish and Native and mixed blood from Germany and Irish, I have to say that the women from this valley have been some of the most incredibly intelligent, powerful, beautiful, strong, resilient women that I've ever met, including my grandma, Elvira Torres from Ranchos de Taos, and she was the school teacher for the valley. There weren't many school teachers back then, but she had such a lovely sense of presence that everybody wanted to learn with her. And my father is Frank Torres, one of 11 children from Ranchos de Taos, and I want to make sure that I give thanks to all the Torres family and the women in the Torres family who are incredibly feisty, rebellious, and really adventurous. And that really gave me a wonderful platform to be who I am. And also from the Martinez family, we're descendants of Padre Martinez, who was supposed to have 89 kids, but that's not true. So there's all sorts of things. You know how rumors are in Taos. But anyway, bless his heart. He was a spiritual leader. And it's kind of funny. I feel I got this award. I feel like I pissed everyone off in the last year or so. And I'm just sitting out there in my chair giving people soup, you know. Anyway, the heart of what I do is art, and the heart of the word earth is art. And without art, you have just So it's really important to create, and that's what I do. I inspire people to create. I create myself. I'm the mother of 3 sons, Isaiah, Zach, and Matthias, and my surrogate son, Angelo, and that son. And the community. I've been an art teacher through different venues through the years, and it has fed me as much as I have given them the platform to make art. So I just want to end by saying we live in one of the richest, most beautiful communities in the world. And with all our diversities, there's a lot of change happening. And if we can just keep the soul and spirit of this place alive, which is being kind to one another, helping each other out. So I have some ideas for how we can change besides making art every day. And one of them is to do 5 good deeds a day. If we each reach out and do 5 good deeds a day, we can change this world overnight. And, 3 good deeds is pretty easy, but the last 2, you have to work at them. It's tough, but anyway, I know we can do it, and we can be a real leader of the Renaissance in this world for creating a platform for acceptance and tolerance and love. So keep making art. Love you guys.
Felicidades, prima. I know firsthand the hard work and dedication that our next honoree has committed to the community through my work with her on the board and as a volunteer of Taos Feeds Taos. She has dedicated her life to supporting nonprofit organizations. Born and raised in Taos, Gloria Garcia Salazar served the New Mexico Department of Transportation for 25 years. Now retired, she's busier than ever. Her volunteer service is extensive and includes organizations in addition to Taos Feeds Taos, the Beavers Incorporated 4-H Arroyo Seco as a club leader and president, the Holy Trinity Parish as a mayordomo, the Taos Swim Club as a board member, and the local growers and Taos Farmers Market. Gloria credits her parents, Telesfor and Teodora Garcia of Desmontes, for teaching her the value of family, excellent work ethics, respect, and community. She also acknowledges her siblings, husband and son, her nieces and nephews, and her in-laws for the impact they have had on her life. Gloria encourages us in the face of adversity. There will always be obstacles and restrictions along the way, But remember, some of the restrictions encountered will be those that we create within ourselves. So identify those and work through those. And I can certainly relate to that. She extends her thanks to the Taos Public School employees, the youth programs, the Taos Extension Office and County Fair Boards, the Taos Swim Club, especially for this last year in their work in supporting the youth in our community. And she calls on each of us to find ways that we can continue to support our young people, saying that our children need us now more than ever. So thank you, Gloria, for your commitment to our youth and to the community. And please join me in welcoming and congratulating Gloria Garcia Salazar.
These are some tough ladies. Thank you, everyone. So my speech is going to be very short, nothing in comparison to all the others. It is a great honor and privilege to accept this prestigious award. I would like to start off by thanking Ernestine Cordova for the nomination. I greatly appreciate that Ernestine feels that I am of equal caliber to these women that stand here before me. Thank you for having faith in me. To the Taos County 4-H and the Taos Swim Club for inspiring our youth to be and to do their best. I accept this award in honor of my parents, Telesforo and Teodora Garcia of Des Montes, my husband Silas and my son Esteban Salazar, and my siblings and the rest of my family. Thank you for assisting me in my upbringing. I wouldn't be the person that I am today without all of you. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you so much, Gloria. And as I said, those a few weeks leading up to and the week of Taos Feeds Taos, Gloria's out there running around, keeping us all in line. It's important to note, too, that this year with Taos Feeds Taos, obviously we could not do an in-person event. Those hundreds of you that come and join us at the Armory to help fill boxes and distribute them. So thanks to Gloria and her background and experience in computer science, she was able to help the Taos Feeds Taos board develop a means by which to provide vouchers, and so we could still safely support the community through Taos Feeds Taos. So thank you, Gloria. I also want to mention and come back to something that Gloria mentioned, which is she mentioned Ernestina Cordova, who nominated her for this award. What you may not know, but I think is important to note, that all of the women that we're recognizing today were nominated and then voted on by the 2020 Taos News Taoseña Award recipients. So I think that's a beautiful way to keep things moving forward. And as we do as women and in general, as we stand here, we do so standing on the shoulders of those that have come before us. So I want to recognize the 2020 honorees and for their work and for bringing forth this year such a wonderful selection of women that we're honoring today. And our next one, also born and raised in Taos, is also a longtime educator with nearly 30 years in public schools as a teacher and administrator, as well as a university-level instructor. Joanne Romero Ortiz is a retired Taos Municipal Schools principal, a school-based health center coordinator, an at-risk coordinator, and has taught everything from home economics to art and everything in between. She has more than 20 years in the community as a co-founder of several organizations, including Amigos Unidos, Casa de Corazon, Taos County Arts Council, the Hispanic Arts Council, and Taos Arts Celebrations. She also has served directly on boards, including Spring Arts New Mexico, the Harwood Foundation, Taos County Lodgers Tax Advisory Council, the Taos County Young Republicans, to name a few. Joanne currently is an active volunteer and greatly involved in Shared Table, the Holy Cross Hospital Women's Auxiliary, and serves as a deacon at the First Presbyterian Church. In spite of all of her educational and volunteer accomplishments, what Joanne is most proud of is the care that she provided for nearly 200 children and teenagers as a foster parent through CYFD, a shelter care program coordinator at Amigos Unidos, and a respite care provider with Casa de Corazon. Her husband, Bob, is her most ardent supporter, a devoted husband and family man. Joanne considers her number one true life hero to be her mother, who is a beacon of light to so many. Joanne offers what she believes to be the most important word of advice: to listen. Listen to your parents, to your elders, and to your own heart when you are still and alone. Listen to and learn from one another. We all possess gifts of knowledge in various areas that we can share with one another. What we need, we possess within us collectively. Congratulations and welcome to Joanne Romero Ortiz.
Thank you, Anita, Taos News, for sponsoring this wonderful awards, to Lisa O'Brien and Taos Community Foundation and the other organizations that supported this event. I thank, first of all, Lisa Abeta for bringing my name forward to the committee and being a recipient of this year's award. I am in awe of all these inspiring women in this room, including those who are not recipients, and I'm thankful to be a part of this community. I also want to thank my husband, Bob, who has stood behind me for so many years and has let me be who I am, much like a little bit out there sometimes. My mother passed away the day before I took my picture for the Taos News. And it was tough, but she was here 97 years. And she and my dad had such an amazing effect on this community and brought such rich experiences to us as a family. So I want to just mention those things that they brought to us because they've made me who I am today. And many of you were also touched by these things. First of all, our mountain, our mission churches, our acequias in the Rio Grande, the adobe homes with the vigas, the flagstone floors and the blue doors, our foods of red and green, the blue corn, the pululu and choke cherry jam, jellies that we make, sopaipillas and tortillas, wood carvings, colcha embroidery, silver, turquoise, and coral, sagebrush and hollyhocks, fiesta ware and tio vivo. These made me who I am, and I'm proud to be a Taoseña and to represent the ladies of Taos for this year, along with the other recipients. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. She's also a woman after my own heart and says that she lived for several years on chocolate and caffeine. That also makes her the woman that she is. Like many of us, the next Taoseña awardee got to where she is today because of people who saw something in her, who believed in her and provided opportunities for her. She acknowledges her mother, who pushed her to take part in extracurricular activities in and out of school, which helped her to break out of her shell. She has shown strength and perseverance. Her mother has shown her the importance of education and independence, and she is the inspiration behind why Tiana Suazo wants to help the community, especially our youth. And Tiana is doing just that, inspiring her community and youth as the executive director of Red Willow Center, where she's able to apply her earlier experiences as an intern with the TCEDC. It is at Red Willow Center that she feels that she has found her niche, so that local food continues to be provided at low or no cost to the community. What was previously known as Red Willow Farm began as a demonstration project to preserve traditional Pueblo agricultural ways. Remarkably, Tiana and her team were able to continue food distribution safely to the Taos Pueblo during the pandemic this past year, and adapted to COVID-safe curbside delivery with affordable food pricing for healthy and fresh local food. Tiana acknowledges many people in her life who have helped her, who have understood her, and whom she considers family, including colleagues, mentors, and friends such as Daryl Birkenfeld, Carnell Chosa, Nathaniel Jones. And she gives special thanks to her team of employees and interns at the Red Willow Center. Her biggest accomplishment and what she's most proud of is a youth that she feels blessed to mentor, including Gabriel Romero, Raymond Wilson, Kenneth Antonio, Melina Suazo, and Jennifer Casa. This is something I think we should all take to heart, especially in the time of working remotely. When asked what she does to keep a good, healthy work-life balance, Tiana says that she does not work on weekends, unless it's something to help others. And she doesn't answer calls or emails after 5. So take note. Oh, yes, and local retail therapy helps as well. Again, Tiana honors her mother, Valerie Suazo, as well as her grandmother, Juanita Martinez, as the strongest women she knows. They inspire her to be the best person she can be, not only for herself, but for her community. And when considering community, Tiana believes that by coming together, Taos Pueblo, the surrounding villages, we can create a community that is inclusive, sustainable, and that works for us. A community that takes care of one another despite our differences. She thinks we need to redefine normal, although we're not supposed to say normal, right, Lisa? And that it's going to take everybody's effort. Tiana has done the very thing that she encourages others to do. Believe in yourself and surround yourself with people who will support you. Find what makes you happy and what empowers you. And remember, you have purpose. You have power. Please join me in welcoming the purposeful and powerful Tiana Suazo.
Thank you. I told myself I wasn't going to cry too, but no promises today. This is really amazing. It's such an honor to share this award with so many amazing women who've been doing years and years of work in our community. I'm just like this young kid, I feel, who's just coming back home to help. So really thank you everyone who's supporting this event. Thank you to for whoever nominated me. I have no clue. But really, thank you to my mom. I would not be here at all, being the person that I am today without her. She literally pushed me to just, push me out of my comfort zone and just challenge myself. She signed me up for things and would tell me later, you're going to go to this summer camp, you're going to go to this thing. And looking back at it, I am so grateful because that's what really shaped me to be the person I am today. So thank you, Mom. Thank you for everything. With your guidance and everyone who has helped me, I went from this very shy, young Pueblo girl who really didn't believe in herself to a struggling college student who had an experience with substance abuse while digging through her own traumas and the traumas of her people, to a traveling farmer just wanting to learn, going to Belize, Italy, and India just to expand my horizons and really appreciate home. And now I'm back home in a position to really, truly, and immediately help my community. And really, it's because of all of the people who saw something in me and gave me opportunity and believed in me. So thank you to everyone, again. But there's still so much work that needs to be done in our community. And the women here, the women who have been recognized in this award before, are just proof that there's still so much work that needs to be done. So I just want to encourage people to become aware and to become involved and to figure out what you can do to help. Volunteer, donate, really challenge yourself, pull yourself out of your comfort zone. To colonize your way of life, to colonize your way of thinking. Listen to those who don't have a voice in our community. Listen to our kids, because they're really going to tell you what needs to be done in our community. So really, I'm just going to leave it at that, because the waterworks are coming. But thank you so much. Thank you to everyone.
So it struck me as to be very significant and very special, as we've heard from our first several honorees today, that nearly every one of them has recognized and honored their mothers. And what woman would we be without the support, the encouragement, and love of our mothers, our madres, our mamacitas? So I just want to take a moment to honor and recognize and acknowledge all of the mothers out there, and to mine, who I was a little nervous to leave alone today, but she told me, Anita, the fire station is 2 doors away. The police station's across the street. If anything happens, I'll be fine. So I hope you are. I love you, Mom. Speaking of mothers and daughters, this is also a really special moment for the Taos News Taoseña Awards. And I think it's the first time in the history of this recognition that we're honoring both a mother and daughter today. So our next honoree contemplates that she was destined to be an educator, following in the footsteps of her own amazing mother. Taylor Echemendy Jaramillo was inspired to the power of education early on by her mother, Tracy. As a child and throughout adolescence, Taylor helped her mother in the classroom and was able to acknowledge and experience firsthand the power of the incredible educators and innovative practices that empowered in children and their families. It was a trip to Reggio Emilia, Italy during college that ignited a passion within Taylor in profound new ways of viewing both the child, the student, and the teacher. Children are strong, capable, and competent citizens. And education is child-initiated and teacher-framed. After completing her master's degree in early childhood education psychology and teaching abroad for several years, Taylor returned home to Taos, and soon thereafter, the Inspire Bilingual Early Learning Center was born. Taylor has extended the programming at Inspire to include school-age children from across the country in remote learning pods that also focus on social-emotional learning and integrative project-based education to support their online schooling platforms. She has also expanded the meal program in support of children and families during the COVID pandemic. She's so grateful for the support that she's received from the community to be able to do so. Incredibly kind and compassionate, Taylor is known to be a natural leader and works tirelessly on behalf of children and the families in Taos. Taylor, like her mother, is an active participant in the Paso a Paso network and is a founding member of the Taos Early Child Care Alliance. It is through that work that the UNM Taos Residency Teacher Education Residency Program was born. If Taylor could talk to her teenage self, she would tell young Taylor to play, connect, listen deeply, think creatively, be reflective. Anything is possible if you work collaboratively, lead with empathy and compassion. Her brothers Ryan and Grady have taught her humility, patience, and what it means to love deeply. Her dad, Greg Jaramillo, is a source of laughter and play, and her husband, Corey, is truly the most patient and supportive man in the world. She credits, of course, her mother, Tracy, her grandma, as her truest inspirations, advocates, and her very best friends. She says, this is beautiful, that they breathe life into her body, her mind, and her soul. In turn, her mother, Tracy, shares, my daughter, Taylor, has the capacity to dream bigger than I ever imagined and has the inner resources to make the unattainable possible and the words I never quite found. Please join me in welcoming Taylor Etchemendy Jaramillo.
Shoot, I'm going to start already crying. Thank you so much. Thank you to UNM Taos and the Taos Community Foundation and the Chamber and Sabroso and Razor Sharp. I'm just so honored to be here with all of you incredible women. And as Anita just pointed out, I am so moved and honored to be here with my mom and my grandma. They're everything to me and have truly inspired me to do the work that I'm doing today. And I'm so grateful every day to be able to work alongside them and with them in support of our community. And so honored to work alongside so many. Taos is an incredibly special place. I've traveled all over the world, and I truly think that Taos is the only place that I could choose to live. And that's because people here are deeply rooted in our community and have hearts of gold, and truly care for one another, care for our children, care for our families, care for our land, and care for our future. And so I'm just so honored to be an active part of being able to contribute to our own community in that way, and inspired so deeply by the amazing educators, the resilient families, and children truly inspire every decision and motivate every collaborative effort, because they're our future. They're our most important citizens, and they bring joy and have the potential to change the world. So I am so grateful for all of you. I'm so grateful for my family and my husband, and for our community of Taos, and hopeful for what's to come. So thank you.
All right, Ruben, I feel like we need a 7th inning stretch, or 9th inning stretch. Which is it? Let's just take a minute and just take a pause. Wow. Just wow. Women, huh? Okay, so we're getting close to the end, but we saved definitely last but not least. Our final honoree today has dedicated her life to healthcare as a registered nurse at Holy Cross Medical Center for the past 16 years. A graduate of the nursing program of Northern New Mexico College, Jennifer Ortiz has worked the majority of her career in the labor and delivery unit, but has also worked in the medical surgical floor and pre- and post-surgical and endoscopy units. Jennifer also volunteers as a youth health coach for Taos Extreme All-Star Cheer, working with Taos youth ages 4 through 18, and just completed her first season as head coach of the Taos Middle School cheerleading team. She considers her greatest accomplishment and what she is most proud of is her family. Jennifer became a mother at 18, which is now, I think, the age of your oldest child, if I recall, and along with her husband, Carlos, and the help of their village, have raised and continue to raise 3 incredible young humans. Being able to support Taos women, friends, and family in the vulnerable journey in labor and birth, and as they navigate their new role as a new mother, is just as empowering for her, she says, as it is for them. And it's wonderful to be part of the magic of the Taos village, and that goes full circle. The support and encouragement Joanne receives on a daily basis from husband Carlos is tremendous. And having the opportunity to sit with them and get to know them a bit during lunch, I could see that the two of them together are just an amazing support to each other and to their families. Carlos, she says, is her backbone. He believes in me and encourages me in whatever she needs to take on. Their children, Jordan, Cameron, and Chloe, have always been and will be the drive and the reason behind everything that she does. She thanks her parents, Rudolph and Teresa Pacheco, who instilled essential moral values of faith, respect, humility, discipline, kindness, and responsibility. But especially her own mother, the most selfless person that she knows, always giving of herself, her time, whenever she possibly can. She feels that the biggest challenge that women face today is navigating career and motherhood. And when asked how she creates that sane work-life balance, Jennifer laughs, sane? But from what I can tell, Jennifer does it well, and keeping her priority as keeping her family as her first priority in life. The greatest lesson she says she's learned in this past year is remembering what's important: time, health, and family. All of those little things that before we know it become the big things. How wonderful it is, she says, to slow down and to enjoy all that we are blessed with. Please join me in welcoming our final Taoseña Award recipient, Jennifer Ortiz, excuse me. I've only sat with you all day. For the record, Jennifer Ortiz.
Thank you so much. I know it's been said probably by everybody that has come up here, but it is truly an honor to be recognized with so many amazing women, and to be selected from a community that has so many amazing women. And I, come from a long line of Taoseñas. My mom, my grandmothers, my great-grandmothers, all contributed to who I am. Cultivating the land and enabling me to grow up and live in this beautiful place. And so many community members that have helped me throughout my life, and still today. So I have so much respect for this community, this land, our people, and to be able to give back and to be a familiar face when they seek care at our local hospital, to care for my family, my friends, my neighbors, and to give our youth some support to hopefully enable them to grow up to live a positive life and do the same. That truly is the honor. And receiving this award brought to light so much gratitude from people whose lives I've touched, along the way throughout the years, and that has enforced to me that I am on the right path. And so I thank you, especially to my husband and my kiddos, Jordan and Cammie and Chloe, my parents. I love you very much. And that's it. Thank you.
Congratulations again, Julie. Jennifer. So I'd like to now take a moment to ask our 8 honorees to stand. So Mary, Tracy, Maya, Gloria, Joanne, Tiana, Taylor, and Jennifer, if you can all just stand for a moment. Chris Baker, not you. Each of you are here today because of the impact that you have made in your community, for who you are, and for the work that you do, for your passion and compassion, your dedication and your selflessness, and in recognition of your inherent light and your ability to harness your unique gifts to make a difference in this world. So I ask that you please accept this round of applause with our respect, our admiration, with our gratitude, and with our love. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2021 Taos News Taoseña Award, Women of Impact. And as we honor all of the amazing women, we also want to take a moment to recognize and thank the men in our lives, many of whom were acknowledged as we heard from our honorees throughout the day. The husbands, the fathers, the sons, the brothers, the tios y abuelos, the colleagues, the mentors, and the friends. We thank you for your support and the love that you show the women in your lives. When we gathered last year for this event, one of the most memorable things that was shared from a 2020 honoree, Yvette Ortega, was as she was leaving, she said, "Más amor, por favor." And Maya Torres this year says that humility, compassion, and understanding for one another, we can shift into a place of love, which scientifically is the greatest force in the universe. So in closing, I invite and challenge all of us to think about how we can make an impact. How can we be more patient, more humble, more compassionate, understanding, and supportive? What can we do to shift into a place of love? Thank you.
Let's give it up for Anita. Didn't she do a great job? Thank you, Anita. So in tomorrow's paper, we have this wonderful section. And it's about 25% bigger than last year, so I want to thank our advertisers. Again, I know we thank our sponsors over and over again, but we wouldn't have an event without our sponsors. I want to thank also a person that's very important, and that's the female owner of the Taos News, and that's Robin Martin. So we couldn't do it without Robin Martin. So thank you. So everyone's going to get a copy of this, right, Elaine? We'll pass out the copies as we speak. And I want to thank the wonderful crew at Sabroso, the chef, Gabe, and all the crew. Don't be shy. They worked their heart out.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah. Hi, my name is Chef Gabe. This is my kitchen crew here, my whole kitchen crew actually. This is, can you hear me? This is Dominic, Luciano, Joe, and Cameron. And Thank you very much. We appreciate you supporting local businesses, especially ours. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Ruben, you guys did a great job. Everyone watch us tonight. We'll be on live at 5:30 on Facebook and taosnews.com. It'll be on the Taos News website for the whole year. And thank you for everyone for your participation. We couldn't do it without everyone's support. So congratulations, ladies. This will be on our website for a long time. I'm afraid to say we're going to have a lot of Facebook plugs coming out after this. You'll even see more of that. And we couldn't do it. Oh, Morgan. We never get to thank Morgan. Morgan's our photographer. She doesn't like she runs around. She's dodging, moving over here and all over there. She's gonna have a wonderful photo spread pretty soon, within the hour or two, and we couldn't do it without Morgan. So thank you, Morgan. Thank you. And if you want more copies of this section, we'll have them out in front for everyone. So good night. Thank you. Thanks.